Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at the Excel Chapter 1 Guided Project 1-3. So I'm in my SimNet here, and I'm going to go to my Excel Chapter 1 group, and I'm going to go to my Guided Project. There are no resources, so I'm just going to download my start file, open it up from the bottom bar, and then I'm going to save it to wherever you guys save your stuff. I always save mine to the SS folder, so that's where I'm going to continue to save it. So here's my SS folder. You save wherever you need to save. So we just did step one. So first thing that I want to kind of point you in the direction of is Excel is kind of like a grid. It is made up of rows, which go across, and I'm going to click on row 1 so you highlight it, and columns, which go up and down. Every individual box that we have has a cell address. So for example, I'm clicked on this cell, it is A1. So the letter always goes before the number. I can also see here that I have only one sheet in this workbook. Excel, you can have multiple sheets in, and we'll start working with that as we get further in the project. But as for right now, I only have sheet 1. So I can see when I kind of started clicking, I've got multiple A1s. If you guys see it, when I clicked on it, there's multiple. That's because I've split my screen. So I'm going to unsplit my screen. I'm going to go to the View tab, and I am going to click on the Split button. Then that kind of cross goes away. Step B, it says to click in cell A4, which is right here. And then I want to freeze the column titles at this point. I'm sorry. So if you're going to freeze all of this stuff above, I'm going to go to my freeze panes and choose freeze panes. Now I'm just going to show you what that did. Right in between rows 3 and 4, I see now I've got a darker line. When I scroll down, rows 1, 2, and 3 stay put, but everything else kind of scrolls with it. Step C, it says click the freeze panes button. D, it says choose freeze pane, so I'm still in A4. And then it tells me to scroll to row 31. So now I can see row 31, and it says to click in cell E31. So E31, my E gets highlighted and my 31 gets highlighted. That's how I know that I'm here. Says type 3 and press enter. So we're going to change the quantity of these boots. So I'm just going to type the number 3 and press enter. My cursor goes away and then 3 is in the column. Step G, it says press your control and your home key. Now remember, home is by your backspace. And this takes us to the top, which right now, since we've frozen our panes, it's A4 is the top. Step 3, it says click the 100% button in the View tab. So I'm going to go into my View tab, and I can see that I've got a 100% button right here. I'm going to click on that. My zoom percent, which is now down here by my status bar, now changes to 100%. Step B, it says click my freeze panes button and click unfreeze panes. Now I can click cell A1. Now when I scroll, nothing is frozen in my document. I'm going to flip over. Step 4, it says check spelling. It says select from B4 through B11. Now I can already see hiking is spelled wrong, so hopefully that's going to flag it. I'm going to go to my Review tab, and I'm going to click on my spelling button. Right now, when hiking is found, click on the first suggestion, hiking, and then hit change all. All of them are now changed, so just a shortcut to do that. Step 5, it says click on cell H4, which is the 232.5. Now this is kind of a big deal. This is not a number that's typed in. If you look here, this is called the formula bar. This is actually a formula. So it multiplies what's in E4, which is 5, times what's in G4, which is 46.5. So what I want to do here is I want to use this formula and I want to copy it all the way down. So in the next row, 3 will be multiplied by 46.5. Here is your fill handle. When you are on a cell, it's at the bottom right corner. When I put my mouse over it, it changes to a plus sign. Now I can click and drag this if I want, but step 5 tells me I want to double click on it. When I double click on this fill handle, and I'm going to try to do it again, mine's not working, it should fill all the way through H39. Since mine didn't work when I double clicked, I'm just going to put my mouse over it so I've got the plus sign, and I am now going to click and drag. I'm going to try to do this again. I am going to put my mouse over the bottom corner and I'm going to double click, and I can see that it now fills it down to row 39. Now it's step D, says press your control home to get back up to A1. Step 6, it says in your page layout tab, you want to go to your themes button. So themes is the leftmost button, and you want to choose Ion. It's just going to kind of change the fonts and the colors and so on. Step 7, it says select cell A1 through J1. So this is all of the information in our table. It goes all the way across, and this is kind of a title. So rather than having it be separate cells, we want to combine it. So if you go to your home tab, and in your alignment group, there is a button called merge and center. This is going to make all of those separate cells into one cell and center your text. We're going to do the same thing for A2 through J2. So we're going to highlight it and then click the merge and center button. Step 8, it says select cell A1, which is my title, and click this cell in your home tab. Click the cell styles button in your styles group. So here's cell styles, and you want to choose title from the title and headings category. So here I've got title. I'm going to click on it and it changes it. Oh, I just changed the wrong one. I want to be on A1. So cell styles and then title. Step B says select A2 and choose cell styles heading 4, which is right here. Step C, it says click the font size arrow. So I'm still in cell A2. I'm going to change the font size to 14 here. So you can change it to multiple ways. Step D says select both rows 1 and 2. So I'm just going to kind of highlight through the words. And in your home tab, your cells group, hit your format button and choose row height. Now we want to change our row height, make it a little bit bigger, so we're going to type in 22 and then click OK. Just made it a little bit bigger. Step G, it says select cells A3, so from the word product, all the way through J3, which is the column headings. In the cell styles button, you are going to choose 40% accent 3, which is this yellowish color. And then with these still selected, click the bold button. Now, we are going to change the height of this without actually using a button. To do that, you have to select the whole row. So I'm going to point to the number 3 and I'm going to click. Now the whole row is selected, not just those column headings. It tells me to point to the bottom border of the row. So I put my mouse over that and I get a two-sided arrow, an arrow pointed up and an arrow pointing down. I click and I hold my mouse down and I can see my height is 16.5 or 22 pixels. I want to make this a little bit higher. So I want to change the height to 21 or 28 pixels. And when you've got that, then you can release your mouse. Step M, it says click the zoom out button on the status bar if needed so that you can see all rows. So zoom out is the minus sign down here, and I'm going to click on it a couple of times until I can see all of the data all at once. Kind of gets a little small. Step 9, it says select cells D4 through F39. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can see them a little bit better, so I'm going to go back to 100%. And it told me D4 through F39. Step B, it says in my home tab, let's click our center align button. And so all of the information gets centered in the columns. Then it tells me to select G4 through H39. And then it tells me I want to change my format. Right now I've just got general numbers on. I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to change it to accounting. This puts in a $ in 2 decimal places. Step F then says click the borders button. So I'm still selected on this range, which is, nope, I lied. I'm going to select A3 through J39. And then I'm going to go to my borders button. I always say it looks like a window pane button in your home tab. And I'm going to pull this down and choose all borders. While all of these cells are still selected, I'm going to change the font size to 12. Now I'm going to select B4 through C39. And I am going to increase my indent. So in your home tab, in your alignment group, you have these 2 little buttons. They've got blue arrows in it. One is decrease indent. That's going to move things closer to the border of your column. And then you've got an increase indent. So I want you to press this one time, and things should move a little bit away from the left side of your column. It says click and drag to select columns A through J. So I'm going to go in the letters, and I'm going to click and hold my mouse down and select all of these letters A through J. Step J then says double click the borders between J and K to auto fit. So if I double click, I get a 2-sided arrow between J and K, and you have to be between the letters. I'm going to double click here, and it will automatically know to resize everything so the longest thing in each column is going to fit. Step K says select center align the labels in row 3. So I am going to highlight all of these labels in row 3, and I'm going to hit my center align button. Step 10, it says right click column B. So I'm going to go up to the letter B, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to choose insert. Now when I choose insert, since I'm highlighted on a column, it's going to insert a column. So I'm going to click, and it always inserts to the left. So in cell B3, which is the column heading, I am going to type disk, and then in cell B4, I'm going to press no, enter, B5, no, enter, B6, yes, enter. Now, I can see that I've got a pattern here, 2 no's and a yes. So I'm going to highlight these 2 no's and a yes, and once Excel sees a pattern, it will keep repeating the pattern. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my indent so it moves over from the left side of the column, and then I'm going to double click my fill handle, which is again bottom right of what you've selected. So I double click and it repeats the pattern, no, no, yes, all the way down. Step I says select cells A4 through A39. and then increase the indent once. So again, increase indent, click on it once, it moves away from the left side, and then I'm going to press Control Home to go back up to A1. It says to rename the sheet tab. Now currently my sheet is named Sheet 1. I'm just going to double click on this word here, and I'm going to type inventory, and then press Enter. So the sheet gets renamed. Step 12, it says click the page layout button in the status bar. Now you've got different kinds of layout. Currently we're on normal. Here's page layout, and then here's page break preview. So it wants you to go to page layout. Kind of shows me that if I were to print this right now, it would cut it in half. So step B says click the center header section. So here we've got the header at the top of our document. We've got a left box, a middle box, and a right box. Click on the middle box right here. Now a header is going to go on the top of each page that you print. So you are going to go to the Header Footer Tools Design tab, which is right here, and you are then going to click Go to Footer, which is right here in the navigation. It's going to put you in the middle section of the footer area, and we are going to click the File Name button. So in our Header Footer Tools Design, here is my file name, and it gives me this kind of funny thing, but it knows that it's going to call it exactly what my file is. And then click a worksheet cell to see that file name. So if I click off of my header, so I'm just going to kind of click up here into this cell, I can see once I click off of my header, it kind of fills in whatever the file name was up on top. Step 13, it says click the page layout tab and click the page setup launcher. Now in order to do this, I'm clicked in a cell right now, so I want to click off of a cell so there's not a cursor flashing in the cell. So in the page setup here, I'm going to click the launcher, which is the little diagonal arrow pointing, and then I am going to choose landscape for the bubble. Now I saw when I printed this it wasn't going to fit because the page was taller than it was wide. If I change it to landscape, now it's going to be wider than it is tall. Now just to be sure, I'm going to fill in the fit to 1 page wide by 1 page tall. This is going to kind of make sure everything fits on one page. Click OK. Now the last couple of steps, it says to select cell A1 through K11. So A1 through K11, K11, which is here, and then in your page layout tab, click your print area button and choose set print area. So what this is going to do is when I tell it to print, I can choose to only print these things rather than the whole sheet. It says press Control Home to go back and go to your File tab and choose Print. Now I can see I've only got part of this printing if I were to choose Print, but everything fits on one sheet. I'm going to hit the back button to go back, and I'm going to change my view back to normal view. I'm going to save this file, and then I am going to upload it to SimNet. Now again, you always get 2 tries at a project, so if you're not happy with your grade the first time, do it again.